I'd like to welcome you out to our meeting tonight, and we have a number of guests coming in here to speak to us this evening. And let's see, where'd he go? Oh, there he is, Jerry. This is your first time, correct?
Yes.
Well, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
And did everybody get a raffle ticket?
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't get one? Okay. You don't like ice cream?
You didn't get one?
Never mind. Okay. The minutes were distributed earlier, so those have gone out and approved. And then as far as our treasurer's report, we have $803 in the checking and $1,200 going into this, or it's in the savings. I'm going to go ahead and start with the kind of the new business, and then we'll get into our guest speakers. Tomorrow, I checked with the city, with your buddy Armando, and they will be having Earth Day, rain or shine. So, it's volunteer. It's up to you if you want to go over there. They're not having pizza. They're going to have roast beef sandwiches.
What location is that?
This is spreading bark and planting plants over
At City Hall.
Oh, it's going to be, I'm sorry, over at City Hall.
Oh,
It'll be over at the City Hall.
thank you.
So that'll be taking place tomorrow from 8:30 to 12:30. And then May 16th is the big day of service. Our project is over at CRC, and I'm happy to say that our project is the only project right now that is full, and I actually added 3 more volunteers onto it. So we are in good shape. If you'd like to help out on the 13th, which will be a Wednesday, I can always use some additional bodies. We're striping the parking lot, and I'd like to get it done in one day and not drag it out. So if I have additional people, he just buys more paint, more material. So that'll be on the 16th is big day of service, and then on the 13th will be an additional, as we call it, the bonus day. And then next month, in May, we're looking for officers. Dave in the back, who still can't hear me, our vice president, he's going to be terming out. Oh, he can hear me. Okay. And
I heard that. Chose not to respond.
okay, and our treasurer, Diane, I don't know what you're doing. You have no term limit, so it's up to you. All right. So let's go ahead and move on tonight, and we'll start out with the impact team. And we have
Actually, let's have Mike go first. We are with the traffic unit, and we have about a 20 minutes.
You want to do it at the end? We may have questions too. No, that's fine. Okay, you're good? All right. So I'd like to invite Mike up. Mike used to be with the Sentinel, and I guess you're freelance now, right?
Right.
You do photography, and you write children's books.
Yes.
Is there anything else you can add?
Artist, author, educator.
And then you're president of Area
5.
5. So he has full plate. So I'll go ahead and turn the time over to you.
Thank you.
And if you need the volume up.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to get this started. It was a little bit glitchy earlier, a few minutes ago when I was trying this, so manually pushing a button instead of using.
Talk to it? You can't talk into the microphone on it?
Right, yeah, not yet. If I play on my phone, it should talk to the laptop. Okay, so I'm going to talk about media literacy, but before I get started, I wanted to make sure you guys all heard the latest news.
We are pleased to report that the officers from the Citrus Heights Police Department
have captured Bigfoot. Our officers responded to witness reports of Bigfoot in the Stock Ranch Nature Preserve behind Costco.
There you have it. Congratulations, Citrus Heights Police Department, for finally getting Bigfoot.
We cited for camping.
So, videos don't lie, right? This has to be real. It's a video. If you don't believe the video, there's pictures.
Yeah.
You can't see those too well. Bigfoot's kind of dark, you know, they didn't have real good exposure. So obviously these are not real, right? Tonight I'm going to talk about fake news, media bias, and something that's a relatively new term, advocacy journalism. And, oops, it's going to be too slow. I think I'm just going to, I won't be able to move around as much. But. So Charles Spurgeon said, discernment is not the ability to tell the difference between right and wrong, it's the ability to tell the difference between right and almost right. And in all of the examples that I've created here, I used real images. And it's a lot more convincing to manipulate, to alter a real image than it is to create something that is completely fabricated.
We are
And in this case, you know, here's pictures of Citrus Heights Police Department capturing the Grinch that they published to their social media. And I just right-click on the image, download, save image as to my computer, created a free account with the AI service, one of many AI services that's out there, uploaded the image of Lieutenant Herman, uploaded the image to the AI service. I typed in what I wanted him saying, and it animated the image, still image, created the animation, and it made his mouth moving, his head is nodding, he's gesturing. It looks like he's speaking from a still image and text that I typed in. Now obviously the voice is robotic, but if I were to pay for the next level tier of the subscription in the AI and all that kind of stuff, I could get a sample of Lieutenant Herman's voice, upload that sample, and it will look like Lieutenant Herman, it will sound like Lieutenant Herman. And do you think I could get a sample of Lieutenant Herman's voice from a news media clip somewhere or something like that? Sure. Pretty easy to do. If I could do that with Lieutenant Herman, I can do it with your sons, your daughters, your grandkids, your parents, and I can make it sound like, Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, I'm in trouble. I need bail money. I got
Excuse me.
So I can do it with people. I can scroll through your social media and pull a picture, if depending on your settings, pull a picture and do the very same thing. Free. This costs me nothing. Probably go into a library, just walk in off the street and create a free Gmail account. Use that free Gmail account to create social media, YouTube, Facebook, social media accounts, create an AI account and start pumping out content. It doesn't have to cost a dime. This one is completely AI. Obviously, this is really fake. But that's why I want. But you can see there's kind of telltale signs. There's the shopping cart in the background, if you can see it very well, but it kind of doesn't make sense. It's got two handle ends. It doesn't have like a front and a back. It has two front ends or two back ends. Obviously, the giant ape in the middle is a dead giveaway. But and the police don't use that style car too much anymore. So I mean, there's subtle things, but AI is getting better every day. Probably by the time I'm done here tonight, it's going to be improved. So artificial intelligence works by rearranging images. Imagine if you had all of the puzzles in the whole world. Do you think you somehow could catalog every single puzzle piece from every single puzzle? Do you think you could reconstruct a new puzzle from all of those pieces? You probably could. You probably could find pieces that look the same, that show the same objects, and that fit together close enough that you could create a new puzzle, right? That's how artificial intelligence images are created. All the billions of images that are out there on the internet all have pixels. Those pixels are cataloged, the RGB values, and the computers are really well ordered. They're not technically smart, they're just very fast and they're very organized, and they can take those pixels from this picture, this one, reconstruct a new image based on real images that looks convincing. So, for the purposes tonight, when I talk about fake news, I'm talking about a story that's completely made up. A story that does not exist, like Citrus Heights police capturing Bigfoot. Sometimes I've heard people use the terms fake news and bias kind of interchangeably. We'll get into bias in a little bit, but just so we're clear, when I say fake news, I'm talking about something that's made up, that did not happen. There's a gap. Anytime there is a big event, a big news event, an earthquake, a natural disaster, there's a gap between when the story breaks and when accurate information starts to surface. Right? It takes time for journalists to get out there, it takes time to get to the location, it takes time to gather information, it takes time to upload and publish it. With modern technology, that time is getting shorter and shorter. It's not like the old days where you had film, you had to send it off, and get it developed, and then they had to print, it was the next day. Now you can get it in an hour or two, but it still takes a little bit of time to get that information. Some content creators will use that gap and they'll just use AI to be the first to publish a story. They'll get information out there real quick. This is one of those pictures. This was, I think it was the floods in Texas, something like that. Now, who could not resist a little girl being rescued in a boat with a puppy? Of course, you're going to click like and share, and you're going to put the little heart icon and all that kind of stuff. Your heart just goes out to her, right? Or was it this other little girl in a boat with a puppy? In a different boat. So either identical twins were rescued in two different boats with two different puppies from the same flood, or these are fake, right? And you can kind of tell. The number of fingers on her hand over here on the left, she has too many digits, and right now that's a telltale sign. AI still has trouble with 5 fingers on each hand, 5 toes, 2 legs, 2 arms. When you get a group of people, there's kind of get all over the place. But again, that's getting better and better by the day, by the hour. Here's a story that I covered for the Sentinel in 2000. This was not far from here, down Sunrise Boulevard, and arsonists set fire to this guy's trees in front of his house, and they also set fire to some American flags. And I went there, I interviewed the homeowner that lived in that house, and he told me that, yeah, there was a group of young people, teenagers, young adults, he wasn't sure, but from what he could tell from, I think, doorbell camera video, they were going up and down the street, they were looking in cars, they were checking car doors, see if they were locked, they were setting fire to American flags, they were doing that. And they also set fire to his cypress trees. So it wasn't clear if these guys were just troublemakers, or if they had a political statement of any kind, or if they were just looking for trouble. It wasn't entirely clear. CBS 13 picked up the story, and they ran it pretty much the same story that I got. They talked to a different neighbor. They got similar footage to what I got, similar B-roll. Cypress trees were on fire. And they ran the story. Zero Hedge picked it up from CBS 13. I don't think Zero Hedge reads the Sentinel, but CBS 13 reaches a lot more people. And Zero Hedge ran it with this image and this headline. Arsonists target California homes displaying American flags. Well, now we've gone from Citrus Heights to California. And I was there, this picture did not happen. Right? These arsonists were, it was the middle of the night. No news agency got any pictures of American flags burning during that incident. I got there the next day. CBS 13 got there a couple hours after I did. Nobody got this picture. This picture is not from that event. But it gets a reaction, right? So, and then the story is basically copied and pasted from CBS 13. And it's not plagiarism because it's media and you can attribute, according to CBS 13, copy, paste, publish. Right?
So all they did was, they have
Yeah,
a picture that's not from the actual incident, and they
Right.
change the headline,
right. And then copy and paste the story.
and then they can credit the original.
Then you attribute the information to whatever news source, according to CNN, according to Fox News, according to AP, Reuters, whoever. Copy and paste, publish.
Oh, as far as that incident, was it, excuse me, I'm sorry. Let's have one more quick comment. Flags that were hanging on the homeowners, they were displayed on the homeowners that they were burning, that those kids were burning?
I think so. We can talk more about that later. So, a Newsbreak contributor picked it up from Zero Hedge, or from CBS 13.
Is Zero Hedge an independent media source?
Yeah, Zero Hedge is a independent media.
Thank you.
And Newsbreak is a aggregate site, so anybody can become a Newsbreak contributor. You just create a free account, you say, I'm a journalist, and you start writing content. They ran it with this picture. Yeah, I don't know what it is. This was summer of 2020, so there were wildfires in Australia that were really destructive. This could have been Paradise from several years before that. I don't know where this picture is from. It's not Citrus Heights. And it's definitely not the arson incident that burned the guy's cypress trees. And now arsonists are targeting homes displaying American flags. Leave Citrus Heights, California completely out of it. And again, according to CBS 13, copy, paste, publish.
So why would those news agencies?
We'll get to that. So, this is how this story snowballed. Right? From a few cypress trees and American flags and some other attempted vandalism or larceny to an inferno. And the thing is, to answer your question, anger sells better than sex. That's pretty much it. If you can make people angry, they're going to like, they're going to share, they're going to put this all over, and then the content creator gets more money for eyeballs, for page views. And the thing is, if you look at the comments, this guy up here says, I live out here, I'm putting my big flag out front and another on my side yard and loading my double-barrel shotgun. So this stuff has a real effect. So, like what you were getting at, reasons why do people do this? Money and power, power and money, right? Goes back to that. Influence, scams, which goes back to money. The other thing we're talking about tonight is media bias, and just my own definition is an actual news event that is presented maybe using loaded terms or ignores important perspective or something like that. We've all seen a story where I've been to events and I've seen it reported and I thought, were we at the same event? There's the Ad Fontes is a good source. They have a media bias chart. If you go to their website and add for just search for ad fontes, means from the source, ad fontes, and they rate a lot of different media outlets. And on this graph, left and right is conservative liberal bias, and then the up and down axis is reliability. So what you're aiming for is that top center. If you're a journalist, if you're an ethical journalist, you're aiming for that top center. You want to be objective as you can be. Nobody's perfect. And you want to have high reliability for your information. The more partisan the information gets, the lower down it is on this graph, anyway. Take a look at their website. You may not agree with your favorite news source. You might think this news source should be further left or further right or more in the center, whatever. They're not perfect, but this is a way that you can kind of gauge the source and where is this information coming from and how much should I be trusting the information from that source. Another one is All Sides Media, and they have a similar bias rating. It leans left or further left, or it leans right or it's further right, and there's different news agencies that are on that chart. Their approach is that everyone is biased. We'll never be able to completely eliminate bias because we're all human, but we should at least be aware of the bias and read a variety of news sources so that we can get more information and make up our own minds. Right? That's their approach. And then there's ground news, and ground news kind of keeps track of which news sources publish or follow which stories. And you'll see in this case, one story was followed mostly by right-leaning, 95% of right-leaning news sources, according to ground news, followed that story. The SBA suspends California borrowers. So according to ground news, none of the left-leaning sources, by their definition, followed that story, but 95% of right-leaning sources did. And the opposite is true for this other one. 51% of left-leaning, but only 20% of right-leaning followed that story. So again, you may agree or disagree with, I don't think the source should be that far left or that far right, or whatever. My point is, if you're only consuming media from one channel all the time, they're not reporting everything. Right? There's stories that are out there that you're not seeing because you may not like XYZ network, so I don't watch them. I don't like their bias. But there's stories that they might cover that you're not going to see. This was a photograph I took. This is Texas Roadhouse. We all recognize Texas Roadhouse. It was after a storm. And as you can see, the tree almost hit Texas Roadhouse.
A couple cars in between.
A couple cars in between. So a 300 millimeter lens has a field of view of about 6 degrees. And a telephoto lens also compresses distance. So it's a magnifying glass, right? It's going to bring that background up real close, and it's going to compress the distance between the foreground and the background. And it's going to give you a super narrow field of view, right? Here's that same tree at, 140 millimeter focal length? Well, could have been closer. It wasn't that close, right? Here's the same picture at 16 millimeter wide angle.
Wow.
Right?
Parking lot.
This tree was actually closer to Chuck E. Cheese than it was to Texas Roadhouse. But I can make it look like it's close. Like if I don't like Texas Roadhouse for some reason, I can say, look, a tree almost fell at Texas Roadhouse, don't eat there. It's actually closer to Chuck E. Cheese. So, last thing is advocacy journalism. This is a relatively new thing. And these are journalists that use ambush tactics. They have social media accounts on YouTube. They have a lot of followers, a lot of followers. And they'll use, in my opinion, unethical journalism tactics. That they'll kind of ambush somebody. You know, if I walked up to somebody and just stuck a camera in their face. Or if I went to a place of business with a camera and I said, hey, can I come inside and see the back room and see the storage and see everything? What do you think they're gonna say? Right, they're gonna say, who are you? And can you please leave? And then if I don't, then they're gonna call security or they're gonna call the police. And then I film the encounter between me and the police and I say, look, they're hiding something because they wouldn't let me into their business. So, First Amendment auditors, have you guys heard of this? I think Citrus Heights Police Department was targeted a few years ago, it's been a while. And Citrus Heights Water District was targeted. And basically what these guys do is they go into the lobby of a public building. The lobby of the police department is public. The water district is public, the DMV, right? These are public buildings. They'll go in with the camera and they'll start filming. And inevitably, the person behind the counter says, can I help you? And they say, no. Anything. What are you here for? None of your business. And they start filming things on the wall. Well, inevitably, somebody's going to call security because you're acting suspicious. You don't know, they don't know if you're a terrorist, you're planning something, you don't know what you're doing, right? The security shows up and they say, you can't kick me out, I have First Amendment right, I'm a journalist. And they film the encounter and they say, oh, they must be hiding something. So again, why do people do this? According to police legal police legal sciences, some of these guys at the top end are making $150,000 a month from subscribers, and you have the merchandising and the donations and all this kind of stuff. A lot of money for what I would consider pretty much borderline harassment. The first casualty when war comes is truth, or you've heard it said the truth is the first casualty of war. We've all heard that. Again, reasons why do people do this? Money, more money, and more money. Money and power. Page views is more advertising dollars. And like I've said, anger sells better than sex. This is a click farm in Vietnam. These pictures were published by CNN from a book that this author published. He went into some of these click farms and got photographs. I don't know if you can see it, but each one of the boxes on the right with the guy at the computer and all those racks, there are multiple, it looks like, I think they're cell phones in each one of those boxes. So each one of those boxes, black boxes, might have 10, 20, 30 individual cell phone mobile devices in there. And they control it. And you can buy clicks. So you can launch a YouTube channel and you can call these places and you can say, I want to be #1 on YouTube by tomorrow morning. And they'll put you there. Because the YouTube algorithm doesn't always know the difference between real people and this stuff, the bots. So the algorithm starts seeing a video go viral, starts trending. And the algorithm says, oh, people must like this. So it starts showing it to more people. And that's how it gets in your feed, in my feed, right? Because somebody bought that enough clicks to get it to the level where the algorithm thinks it's going viral. There's a media bubble. The algorithms reinforce our bias, right? It becomes an echo chamber. And we've all done this. You see a video of puppies and you watch it, and the next thing you know, there's 10 more videos of puppies in your newsfeed. You watch a couple of those, then you have 100 more videos of puppies in your newsfeed. Pretty soon your whole newsfeed is puppies, right? Well, the same thing happens with left or right bias, propaganda, content that you engage with. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all these social media companies, TikTok, they know how long an image is on your device. They know how many seconds. You looked at this image for 2 seconds, you looked at this image for 10 seconds. So it knows how long you're looking at each. And then it will feed you more of that kind of content. Memes, I'm gonna go through this just really quick. Richard Dawkins coined the term meme, and it's just an element of transmission. And meme warfare is a highly effective method of propaganda. We've all seen memes. Some of them are funny. Some of them make a political point that makes me kind of laugh. I'll chuckle at it. But I try to use restraint. I try to use click restraint, and I won't share it because I know issues like Iran or homelessness or immigration, you can't boil it down to a one-liner on a meme on social media and share that and go, haha, right? It's not going to solve the problem. Media is changing. It's changing very fast. Ad Fontes reports that younger adults are less likely to follow news and more likely to trust information from social media. Legacy media is, there's a sea change. I can't overstate how huge this is. The change that we're seeing in our generation away from mainstream legacy media outlets to where people are getting information. Unlike legacy media, back in the day, if you wanted to get an article published, you had to have a reporter write the article, a photographer photograph the event, an editor edited, a publisher ran the newspaper, or an owner, ran the newspaper, and then beyond that, you had people running the press that were putting ink on paper, right? So there were layers and layers and layers. At any point in that process, one of those people is going to say, wait a minute, Citrus Heights police didn't capture Bigfoot, are you sure? Right? Now today, you can create a free Gmail account, create all the free social media accounts, and just publish. There's no editor, there's no publisher, there's no stopgap. Social media influencers are now part of the White House press corps. And I'm not saying this is good or bad, okay? I'm just saying that's an indication, that's a sign how things are changing. This is huge, that influencers are now at the level of White House press corps. That was used to be like the elite. There is no official license or permit to become a journalist. And I'm not saying that there should be. Okay, I would frankly be a little concerned if there was a policy or a law that says these people get to report the news and these people don't, right? The media should stay objective. The fourth estate should stay. So there is no official permit or anything to become a journalist. Anybody can become a journalist. There is a code of ethics, but it's voluntary. You can join these organizations and you agree to abide by the code of ethics. But that doesn't stop you from publishing content. So what can we do? Has anybody seen the movie War Games? A very young Matthew Broderick was in that. And if you haven't seen it, the computer goes through all these different simulations of World War III, Russia and the United States launching nuclear weapons at each other. It goes through all these different scenarios, and it comes to the conclusion that there's no winning. Both sides end up losing, no matter what. And it says, strange game, the only winning move is not to play. So it's up to us. If we want to turn down divisiveness, our country is really, our communities are really divided. If we want to bring that together, if we want to close that gap, it starts with us. We have to think. Number one, think. G.K. Chesterton said, perhaps the principal objection to a quarrel is that it interrupts an argument. And we go through these really quick. There's 3 main types of logical fallacies. This is like a whole semester course I'm going through in like a minute. Fallacies of relevance distract from the main point. This is like the red herring, the ad hominem, and stuff like that. If somebody's trying to make a point and you're like, well, I don't like the suit you're wearing. Have to do with the point they're trying to make, right? Straw man argument, where it reduces an opposing view to something simple, so it's easier to attack, but it's not really what that person is advocating for. Fallacies of presumption, begging the question. Things like, this isn't allowed in court, right? So, Mr. Smith, what did you do with the gun after you shot Mr. Jones? Well, I didn't do anything with the gun. So you still have it. I don't have it. Where did you put it, right? Well, that's begging the question. You're assuming Mr. Smith shot Mr. Jones. It's the thing that you're trying to prove, right? And it skips right over that and it gets into something else, right? Begging the question. Fallacies of clarity, use vague terms, things like that. Elect me for a brighter tomorrow. Well, what's brighter and what's tomorrow? Is tomorrow next year, 10 years from now? And what's brighter? Brighter than what? Think before you click, right-click on a source, open in a new tab, and then find the About Us section and open that in a new tab. I've had like 5 or 10 tabs open for one source, just to fact check one source. Because I want to know if it's in the Sentinel, okay, where did the Sentinel get it? Well, Sentinel got it from Citrus Heights Police Department. Okay, so what's Citrus Heights Police Department? Are they an actual agency? You know, and yes, they are, and, right? You have to dig. Big claims require big evidence with an asterisk. The news business is very competitive. I've covered stories and then the next day or sometimes even the same day, I'll see it on CBS 13 or 40 will cover it. It's highly unlikely that there's going to be one news source that's going to have the story and nobody else wants you to know. Huge red flag. If your news source is telling you, we're the only place you're going to get the story about Bigfoot. I guarantee if Citrus Heights captured Bigfoot, they would be all over the news, right? It would be every news agency in the country would be covering it, right?
So they use the term exclusive.
You can't have exclusive stories. The incident with the trees, the cypress trees, that homeowner actually gave me an exclusive. I didn't ask him for one. I just interviewed him, and he called me later that afternoon and said, "Hey, by the way, channel, I think it was 13, stopped by," and I told him I didn't want to talk to him because I wanted to give you the story. I didn't ask him to do that. It was just nice.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
You know?
I just wanted to know if it
Yeah.
applies to that other term.
Yeah, so it does apply, but CBS 13 talked to the other neighbor, right? So I had an exclusive, but there's more than one. Okay, so I had an exclusive interview with that guy, but that doesn't mean CBS 13 can't go to the next guy and get
That
this
guy.
similar story back. So you can have exclusives, but there should be other coverage. Sooner or later along the way, another story is going to try, another news agency is going to try to put their angle on it and get their people on it, especially if it's a big story. There are a few caveats to that down throughout history. Joe Biden's alleged cognitive decline was kind of panned by mainstream media. Hunter Biden's laptop was they didn't take it seriously, and it turned out to be credible. The weapons of mass destruction, mainstream media treated it as credible, and it turned out not to be. So there have been examples throughout history where mainstream media has made the wrong call. Okay, but by and large, media is very competitive, and if you're watching a channel and they're telling you we're the only source for this information, everybody else doesn't want you to know. Consider the source. And what other content has that source published? Do you ever notice that a lot of the doomsday websites that are talking about end times and how the economy is crashing and all that kind of stuff, a lot of them are sponsored by like survivalist gear type sponsors, right? You ever notice that?
Off the grid.
Right. Think before you click, seek understanding over being right. Avoid rumors and gossip, that's just true in general. Always try to verify information before you click share, before you click like. What's the source? Is the image real? Is the image relevant? What is the photograph leaving out? Again, a 300 millimeter lens has a field of view of 6 degrees. out of an event that's happening in 360 degrees. Read past the headline. Read a variety of sources. The headline's purpose is to get your attention, to get you to read the article, and that's fine. But it's not, don't just, well, I saw a headline that said blah, blah, blah. Read the whole article. Seek news sources that might be opposite of what you normally read. Read a variety of news sources. And I would recommend read more than watching. Right? Cable news, the 24/7 cable news cycle, news doesn't happen 24/7. So if there's an incident and it takes you, 30 seconds to say something, well, you've got 23 hours and 30 seconds to fill. So you've got to have, or an hour-long segment. So you've got to have people commenting on what the statement by police might be real short. No suspects found. How long does it take to say that? 10 seconds. Well, they've got 24-hour news cycles, so they've got. So read more than you watch. And lastly, I will leave you with this. We all want to have good communities. We all want to get along, and we all make our communities better. The more divisive content that we share, that we consume, the more divided our communities are going.
My name is Sergeant King Sam. I'm with Citrus Heights Traffic Unit, and I'm here to talk to you guys about a little bit about the traffic unit, a little bit about our OTS grant, and some distracted driving, and then I'll take about 10 or 15 minutes. You're not today, so I appreciate you guys tonight and hearing us out. And then I'll have Officer Joe Davis, who's also with the traffic unit, step up, and he'll talk a little bit about e-bike stuff. Okay? So at the end, we're here for questions and answers. First of all, let me tell you about the traffic unit. It consists of 5 officers. Myself as a sergeant, Joe Davis, Zach Erickson, John French. All of us are on motorcycles. We work the whole city for citations and enforcement. We have a DUI car that is at night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and he's in a car, and that is Officer Greenlee. And currently we have 1 or 2 spots open that we can fill for traffic unit, which would give us 5 bikes. We fall under the Special Operations Division, which is run by Lieutenant Dunning, and that has to do with POP, code enforcement, rental housing, and all the stuff that is basically community related, how we solve problems in our community. Okay. So one thing we do as a traffic unit is every year we write the OTS grant. I've talked to people before. Does everybody know what OTS is?
No.
Office of Traffic Safety. It's a California state agency, and basically what they do is they run studies and they provide funding for additional resources to police departments and sheriff's departments for traffic enforcement. And some of the operations they do, every year it's a grant. The Citrus Heights usually ends up with between $140,000 and $170,000. So when I say we have a traffic unit of four motorcycle cops and a DUI car, what we're looking at is additional funding to help us attack traffic issues. Okay? Things like DUI checkpoints. DUI checkpoints for Citrus Heights are held 4 times a year, 1 per quarter, starting in October. Their quarters are October. And we do 1 DUI checkpoint. It's 15 officers in about 5 to 7 hours at a designated location in the city that we support by stats, fatal stats, crash stats, or fatal stats, crash stats, or any other stat we can justify holding the checkpoint at, right? Major thoroughfares, Sunrise Boulevard, Antelope, Old Auburn, Greenback. We have a whole bunch of different locations. We just picked up another one that the newest one is Old Auburn, and that's a great location. Even though it's low traffic, we don't get that many cars through at night, but we get a lot of DUIs because people are we get traffic enforcement over time. So when we're out working during the daytime, officers will call up and say, hey, I want to do some traffic enforcement. We'll say, hey, speeding, stop signs on this street or this location, and they'll go out and they'll specifically work that location to get additional enforcement in there. Enforcement comes to education. If we want to do distracted driving, which I'll talk about in a little bit, that's cell phone stuff and all the distracted driving. We have DUI saturation. So on top of the DUI car, officers call up and they say, hey, we want to do DUI saturation. I put them out in another car during business time between 7 and 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. And they go out there and they write tickets, they pull over cars, and they arrest DUIs. Their sole purpose is to go out and enforce DUIs. So those are all funded through OTS grants. We also have some collaborative stuff we do. We also get money for equipment. Recently we just purchased a speed trailer. So if we have a speed issue on a street, what we'll do is we'll deliver the speed trailer, we'll run stats on that street for a couple days, up to a week. Then we'll compile the data, which is all web-based. We'll get on the internet, we'll see all the speed, and we'll see how fast cars are going, if there's an actual problem, and then our machine actually can pictures of the cars that are going too fast, and we can do follow-up with that. Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, what was the street we had? So we were up in Summer Place, we got a speed concern up in Summer Place. We put our speed trailer up there for a week or a day or one day. In one day on Summer Place, which is a residential street, 2,000 cars came through, most of them going 50 plus, okay? So then John French, probably Davis a little bit, and Erickson, they all worked that area, and they were getting a ton of tickets per day. They were up there just really kind of enforcing that area for speed and the concern that the community brought to our attention. So they brought to our attention, we fact checked it, and we found it was a hot spot for traffic enforcement. We do presentations in the community. We work with the schools. Joe Davis and Zach Erickson work with the high schools, and we do different programs. And Joe Davis will tell you guys about one of his programs he's working with. One of the campaigns we are working with for OTS is distracted driving. Okay, I'm here to tell you a little bit about distracted driving. Most of us have seen it, do it, know about it. Raise your hand if you've never been distracted when you're driving. Raise your hand if you've ever used your phone while driving. You are not telling me the truth. Somebody in this room, I have my hand up, I was telling you the truth.
Oh, I thought you said never did that.
Oh, tell me if you've never, or have, but you're right. So, we've all talked on our phones, right? We use our phones, we text on our phones. I mean, we talk about distracted driving as putting on makeup, eating food, disciplining your kids, radio on, anything that takes your eyes off the roadway. I ride a motorcycle. Joe Davis rides a motorcycle. Does anybody else ride a motorcycle? Has anybody else ridden a motorcycle in the past? Who's the best riders on the road? Sometimes. If you're paying attention, doing everything right, the motorcycles, right? They're not distracted. They're scanning. They're looking left. They're looking right. They're clearing intersections.
I'll clarify that. Motorcyclists, motorcycle riders are jerks.
Yes. So there are bad elements in the motorcycle world, but if you're a good motorcycle rider, you're scanning. We are taught to scan, assess intersections, look ahead of us, and do all this stuff, right? Because we have a 100% ejection rate if we get hit by a car. We get thrown off our bikes, we get seriously injured, okay? But everybody could treat themselves like a motorcycle rider, we wouldn't have some of the distracted driving incidents. So, the United States, basically, there's an estimate of how many crashes are related to distracted driving. They said throughout the whole United States, 3,000, okay? In California, 150. So, I will argue against that stat because we have cars on a regular basis in Citrus Heights stopped at a red light, and then another car in the same lane comes up behind them and smashes into the back of them. Is it because they're like, oh, my brakes aren't working, nothing's working, I can't throw my car in a park? No, something distracted them, probably on their phone. By the time they looked up, everything was stopped. They're still traveling at 30, 40 miles an hour. They lock it up, crash. We don't chalk that up to distracted driving. What do you think we chalk that up to? Crime. Speeding. Unsafe speed for conditions. The conditions are stopped. Car banged into the other car. He was going too fast for the conditions that he crashed into. That's the section that gets chalked up and gets reported to the state of California, when in reality, probably on their phone, right? But if we ask them, hey, were you on your phone when you crashed? No. Absolutely not. Can we look? Mm-mm. So, those are the kind of things we need to be careful of, right? If you guys, I encourage everybody to go out in the community, pull up to a stoplight, pull up to a stop sign where there's other cars, look left and look right. I would bet you money you will see one person on their cell phone, okay? I usually call it working traffic the most interesting center console in the world, because they're like this. Looking down, they're looking off the roadway, they're trying to keep it concealed. We ride big bikes, we can look right into the car when we pull up next to them, and we enforce it. So, what we do is we supplement our enforcement with OTS money. I put more money into distracted driving this year than I ever have. 21 operations, each 4 to 6 hours long, okay? DUI, 15 operations. 20 operations. But distracted driving is the one that's causing some of the headaches in the city, right? We have some very significant thoroughfares in our city. It's easy to work when we're on our bikes, and yes, we put more people out there. We get a lot of tickets through OTS. Traffic cop, we're enforcement, right? Joe Davis works at the schools, he does education and enforcement, and then we encourage everybody to learn about distracted driving. If you guys go on the OTS website, it's all published stuff. Studies through Berkeley. A lot of different agencies will publish stuff on the OTS thing. It's all facts, right? So they're all studies done. And they compile data. You can read the California crash statistics. You can read everything about the nation. I mean, it's got so much reading that you can have a short brochure. This is considered a short brochure on distracted driving. It's still 19 pages. It's got a lot of different stats in there. Lots of different things about fatalities, a lot of different things about crashes. That is the education part. OTS out there to educate. Enforcement. And then there's one more part of the traffic is engineering. And I'm sure we'll have some questions, but I want to give Joe Davis a chance to talk about some of the e-bike stuff so you guys can have an understanding on how we're going with e-bikes. Engineering is something where everybody calls the Traffic Police Department and goes, I want speed bumps. Okay? Speed bumps are engineering. And we can help you with speed bumps. We can talk to you about speed bumps. We'll likely come out and do enforcement first. So after Joe's done, I will wait around for 15-20 minutes, and you guys can ask us questions about any kind of traffic concerns in the city, and we'll be glad to answer them. Okay? Without further ado, Joe Davis.
Before I move into the e-bikes. Most of the thoroughfares, the speed limit in Citrus. No one in here speeds, right? You drives the speed limit? Yeah. Anyone know, without pulling out their calculator, how many feet you will travel in 1 second? 1 second looking at a phone, traveled 2 to 3 times the length of your food, reaction. Anything that takes your eyes off the road. Is that?
Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is better?
Way better. I'm happy.
Anything that takes your eyes off that road when you're driving. So I'm glad I went after you. I get to build on yours a little bit as well. Not fake news, but we see news all the time. Raise your hand if you think e-bikes are a problem in Citrus Heights. That almost everybody. Why?
They don't follow the rules of the road that the DMV. Moving vehicle. Regular manual bicycles, I was educated that you could go in the left-hand turn lane, you need to stop. So from what I've seen, electric bikes are not stopping at stop signs, etc.
But all the bicycles are?
No. They don't know it, you know what I mean? It's not.
Helmet, like the regular motorcycle, doing 40 miles an hour in traffic, not on the side, but in traffic. I'd like to see them stop in a hurry.
So we got two there.
Saw a whole pack of like 30 of them running down Antelope, right in the middle. Taking up 2 or 3 lanes, yep. From Sunrise going towards the freeway.
Don't worry about
5:30
that
kids.
That might have been a bunch of Roseville kids that came down to do that. E-bikes are a concern. They're not a problem.
They're not just a problem on the streets, they're a problem at the parks too. I was walking at Madeira a few days ago, and there were 6 kids, and they were playing chicken with me, and all I was doing was walking.
Mm-hmm.
They finally left after about 5 minutes, but because I was ignoring them. But yeah, it was scary. I could have been hit.
Yeah. You
So
absolutely
they don't
could.
just do it in the streets. They do it
You
at
absolutely
the
could.
parks or at the schools and stuff like that.
Absolutely could. They are an issue. To me, and I'll get into the semantics. To me, a problem is what Roseville is experiencing right now with the takeover. Rancho, the same thing. Elk Grove, the same thing. We have an issue with them, but I think our issue is much smaller scale than what other cities in our region, especially other cities in the state. He was gracious enough, my boss was gracious enough to sign off on it, that they sent me last month to Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach has had a program in place for 2 years regarding e-bikes. E-bikes have been around since before COVID. They're not going anywhere. Modes of transportation. Huntington Beach leads the state in traumatic injuries and fatalities to juveniles. Where we have not had a fatality yet. Huntington Beach is in Orange County. There's other beach communities. No shocker, Orange County as a county lead the state. Huntington Beach itself sees about 300 traumatic injuries. Davis, always skew numbers. So if I tell you the last 3 years their numbers have gone up 450%, traumatic injuries they've seen to juveniles because of these things. Problem. They went from 2 crashes in a year. But 450 sounds much more dramatic. I'm all about enforcement. I love writing tickets. But without education, enforcement does very little. So we're bringing a program to our city modeled after Huntington Beach. reaching out to the schools, reaching out to parents, kids that have been cited, bring an educational portion. Kids, the parents have to attend with the kid. Classroom portion, as well as the writing portion. So they can not only hear the instruction the kids are being given, try to get some buy-in on the parent side. I talk to a lot of parents at the schools, and things, I'm busy, I work, I have all this stuff to do. With this e-bike, little Johnny can get to school. Until we get parents on board as well, I'm hoping this won't prevent it, it won't stop it, but we can maintain some control on it. As far as in the parks, as far as laws in the vehicle code, who thinks it's illegal to ride on the sidewalk? Nothing in the vehicle code that says you cannot ride a bicycle on the sidewalk. That is done by county or city. Discussion about that. I'm not for it. You can't bifurcate that section to where 15 and above you can't ride on the sidewalk. 14. One way or the other. I would rather have the 6, 7, 8-year-old riding on that sidewalk, not in the lane of traffic with a 3,000. There are other options where codes are concerned, and that's something way above my pay grade and on the city side. There are other cities that have things in place where if you're on the sidewalk and you're doing something reckless, such as site cheat. Site can also lead into now you either pay a fine or you and your parent come to these are all things in the works. So everything now is an e-bike. There's only 3 recognized e-bikes. Class 1, which pedal assisted up to 20 miles an hour. 2 is pedal assisted up to 20 miles an hour, but also has a throttle. Class 3 goes up to 28 miles an hour. No age restriction on class 1 or 2. Under 18, you have to wear a helmet. Class 3, you have to be 16 or older to ride. And no matter what your age, if you're riding class 3. Fun fact on the scooters, the middle school didn't like me because I wrote a lot of tickets. I did educate first. I spent 2 days at the bike racks telling them stop bringing these because I'm going to start writing. You have to have a valid permit or driver's license. Cannot ride on the sidewalk, and that is in the vehicle code. I educate kids. I give them one chance because I'm at the school so much. I see them all the time. And your e-motorcycles. So, it does not have pedals. That's going to be an e-motorcycle. Some of those go up to 70 plus miles an hour. We've had them in our city. We've taken them in our city. Once that they're marketed and designed as an off-road dirt bike. Kid or an adult puts them on the road. But once we get them on the road, those are all things they're cited for and they're impounded for 30 days. The other ones are, it's got pedals, but it'll do over 20 bicycles that are classified as motorcycles. Do 40 miles an hour.
Last night I was driving home on my motorcycle, and I met up with an e-bike at Greenback Fair Oaks, okay? There was an adult driving it, and he was going eastbound and I was going eastbound. I would get up to speed, and then I would get up to speed limit 45 to 55. Every time I hit a light, he just zipped past me. So he was within distance of me, a few seconds before I stopped. He'd get up ahead of me, I'd motor up, I'd pass him at 50 miles an hour, hit the next light, and he'd just motor past me. He was using that as his mode of transportation. Joe Davis touched on it. One of the messages we want to deliver at some point is parents are using it as a kind of an item to commute for their kids, right? My neighbor, El Hills, his son gets on his bike every day and rides to school on his e-bike. He has to go up a big hill, down another hill, and he goes up another big hill. And I'm sure he's at school within 5 minutes. That prevents the parents from having to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, get their kid ready. They're 12, they can get themselves to school. I'm on an e-bike, the kid's not tired, he's within 5 minutes of school on his e-bike. In some sense, it's bad parenting. We want to instill on the parents down the road that these kids are going to, the crashes are serious, right? They're as dangerous as a motorcycle crash. Bikes that go 30 miles an hour, you will die if you crash your bike. On a motorcycle 30 miles an hour, I put around town 30 miles an hour. It is treacherous, right? Those are some of the messages we're going to deliver. Like, they need to know that they're putting these kids on these machines. We watched a kid get hit over by Batteries Plus. The bike landed on top of him. The kid was pinned under the bike until somebody lifted the bike off. It's a 120-pound bike. He was 12 or 13. We had another kid over near Farmgate in Primrose. Did everything right. He was crossing on his e-bike, and a car mowed him down. Was the e-bike's problem? No, it was the car's problem. But the kid was going somewhere on his e-bike, and we can appreciate that. So, with that said, those are kind of the topics we had to cover tonight. Do you guys have questions for us? We can answer any questions about traffic.
Why don't we have you guys, we're going to close, and
Sure.
then they can come up and ask you questions.
That's perfect.
Okay.
What was your name again?
Last name is Kassam, Kissam.
Okay.
All right, just want to thank those who came out tonight. Thank you, Mike. That was very, very well done. And I think what the officers are trying to tell us is that they're out there, and if we do something wrong, they will ticket us. You got to watch Davis. He's usually over in Sylvan too, right? Yeah, you like that Sylvan. Okay.
Yes.
And
I like Gary. Anybody know about Gary?
we know where that is.
Yes.
Yes. So I'd just like to say that next month we have Casey Kempnar coming in. He's with the city engineer department. And there's some things I think that we're all going to be concerned with. He's going to talk about the roundabout at Old Auburn and Watchtel. These are they going to go in? They are going in, definitely. And then on Conover, Argo in that area, there's going to be another roundabout there too. So that'll be discussed. We're also looking at 19 homes going in over on Wintergreen and Old Auburn. And so see what's happening there. And the last thing too is he's going to be talking about what's happening with the mall, especially since he's with the building department. So how far along are they and what needs to be done? And so it's going to be a very informative meeting next month with the with him there, and he'll be our one guest speaker. So once again, thank you for coming out. We appreciate it. And then I'm going to go draw out of the hat and get your tickets out. Oh, yeah, a reminder too of the elections. If anybody wants to run for vice president, let me know, and then I'll talk to Diane about treasurer, okay? And we'll put it out
And
there.
there are nomination forms back there if you want to nominate your neighbor.
Okay. Wait a minute, this is my ticket. No, it's not. It's 8361. 8361. Okay. Come up to me and I'll here's my binder. All right, and then if you have questions, the officers, feel free. And once again, thanks.
Who did I talk to about the signage?